Hello, everyone. Welcome to Walk the Parks. My name is Blake. Together, we are going to go on the Bright Angel Point Trail. This is a short trail. It's about half a mile, maybe three-quarters of a mile, depending exactly where you start. This is at the north rim of the Grand Canyon. If you do go to the north rim of the Grand Canyon, basically you take the road all the way to the end, and you'll end up at a large parking lot. This is where the Grand Canyon Lodge is. And you can also do like the transept loop, like you might see the transept trail. So basically, most people who visit the North Rim are going to go all the way to the end of this road. You're going to park at a big parking lot, and this is the hike you're going to want to go and do. It is absolutely spectacular. A really, really, really cool hike. Bright Angel Point is not to be missed. Only real downside might be if you are extremely afraid of heights, it might be a little scary, as you'll see here in just a moment. The trail does get extremely thin. So we're kind of starting up by Bright Angel Lodge, and there is a number of services here at the North Rim. Just keep in mind, the North Rim is really only open in spring, summer, and fall. It is closed for a lot of the winter time, so be sure to check to make sure the North Rim is open before you drive there. It is in an extremely remote location, but it is awesome. If you've been to, well, if you've never been to the Grand Canyon, there's a ton more visitors at the South Rim. The South Rim is way more popular. You're a lot closer. You're only about an hour and a half from Flagstaff, which is certainly a bigger city than anything near here. Um, and so if you want a little bit more off the beaten path experience, the North Rim is the place to go. Um, and it's absolutely fantastic. So, from the National Park Service website, Bright Angel Point. The short walk to Bright Angel Point illustrates the dramatic effect the Grand Canyon has on its surroundings. A transition from the cool green forest of the Kaibab Plateau to a stunted forest of pinyon and juniper occurs within a very short distance. On flat land, one would have to travel several hundred miles to experience this much environmental variation, but thanks to the canyon's topography, the transition is compressed into a few hundred yards. The trail to Bright Angel Point begins on the bridle path behind the visitor center or from the Grand Canyon Lodge veranda. Below the lodge, from the junction of the Transept Trail and Bridle Path, it is zero point 0.5 miles or zero point 0.8 kilometers round trip walk, which usually takes at least 30 minutes to complete. This narrow, paved path provides spectacular views, although it drops off dramatically on both sides, as you can see right here, and in some places, and certain sections are surprisingly steep. The length of the trail is exposed to the elements. Watch out for thunderstorms during the summer months and seek shelter in the Grand Canyon Lodge if you see lightning or hear thunder. So, absolutely spectacular. You're going to probably be out here a while because just the views are absolutely breathtaking and amazing. Um, Again, can't really emphasize how awesome this trail is. As far as some safety stuff, sure, I just mentioned thunderstorms, but also definitely keep in mind just how steep these offs are and how narrow this trail is. So, with younger kids, obviously, you're going to have to be careful here because the consequences of going off are insane. But if you can also look, the reward for going out on this trail is absolutely amazing. Bright Angel Point is one of the most iconic and accessible viewpoints on the north rim of the Grand Canyon in Grand Canyon National Park in Arizona, offering breathtaking panoramic views of the canyon's vast expanse. Um, Basically, I'm going to go through a comprehensive overview of Bright Angel Point and the North Rim, covering geography, history, natural features, visitor experience, and more, based on kind of some information I looked up. So, Bright Angel Point is situated at an elevation of approximately 8,148 feet, or 2,484 meters, on the north rim of the Grand Canyon. It is the most popular overlook on this side of the park due to its proximity to Grand Canyon Lodge and its relatively easy access via a short paved trail. The point juts out into the canyon, providing expansive views of Bright Angel Canyon to the east, the transept to the west, and distant glimpses of the south rim about 10 to 11 miles or 16 to 18 kilometers away as the crow flies. On clear days, Visitors can see the San Francisco peaks near Flagstaff on the horizon, and you can kind of even in this video see them way out there, like in the frame right there. But now they're kind of covered up by that rock in the middle. But you can see the San Francisco peaks, which is pretty cool. The trail to Bright Angel Point is approximately zero point 0.5 to zero point 0.7 miles or zero point 0.8 to 1.2 kilometers round trip, starting near the Grand Canyon Lodge or the North Rim Visitor Centers. While paved, it includes some steep sections and a few steps, making it moderately challenging for those unaccustomed to high altitudes. The trail follows the ridge of the Bright Angel Peninsula, ending at a small white limestone knoll that offers unobstructed vistas. It's a family friendly hike, typically taking 20 to 30 minutes round trip, though the altitude at over 8,000 feet can leave lowlanders winded. As far as geographical and natural features, the North Rim, including Bright Angel Point, sits about 1,000 feet or 300 meters higher than the South Rim, contributing to its cooler climate and distant ecosystem. The transition from the lush Kaibab Plateau's ponderosa pine forest to the stunted pinyon juniper woodlands near the rim is dramatic and occurs over just a few hundred yards, a journey that would span hundreds of miles on flat terrain. This ecological shift is a testament to the canyon's steep topography. From Bright Angel Point, visitors can see Bright Angel Canyon, which is a major side canyon carved by Bright Angel Creek, visible to the east. The creek, named by John Wesley Powell in 1869 for its clear waters, drains into the Colorado River far below. The transept, you can also see, is a deep side canyon to the west, framed by formations like Oza Butte and Manu Temple. As far as distant landmarks, across the canyon, you might spot Diva, Brahma, and Zoroaster temples. These are prominent buttes named after Hindu deities, along with parts of the inner gorge. On quiet days, the sound of roaring springs, 3,100 feet or 950 meters below, can be heard gushing from a cliff face. This spring, this spring supplies water to the North Rim via a Trans Canyon pipeline. The views are not as obstructed southward as the other North Rim overlooks like Cape Royal, but the complexity of the canyon's ridges, mesas, and buttes makes Bright Angel Point uniquely captivating, especially at sunrise or sunset when light accentuates the multicolored rock layers. As far as historical context, the name Bright Angel originates with Powell, who explored the Colorado River in 1869 and named the creek for its sparkling clarity, contrasting it with the muddy, dirty Devil upstream. Over time, the name was applied to various features, including Bright Angel Point on the North Rim and the Bright Angel Trail on the South Rim. Before becoming part of Grand Canyon National Park in 1919, the North Rim was remote and difficult to access. Early Euro American visitors like Edwin Uncle D. Woolley and David Rust established primitive tour operations near Bright Angel Point around the late 19th and early 20th centuries. A rough road reached the point by 1917, and the area's natural access via the Bright Angel Fault, a sloping rock face, made it a key entry for descending into the canyon. The National Park Service and the Forest Service, which managed the area pre 1919, saw Bright Angel Point's potential. The Forest Service built a fire tower there in 1910s, rebuilt in 1929 after the park's establishment. The NPS developed it as the North Rim's hub. In 1925 and 1926, they constructed ranger cabins, a warehouse, and other buildings, followed by the Grand Canyon Lodge in 1927, designed by architect Gilbert Stanley Underwood. This lodge became a cornerstone of the Union Pacific Railroad Circle Tour, linking the Grand Canyon with Zion and Bryce Canyon National Parks. Um, the North Rim, just in general, um, is quite a bit quieter, as I mentioned before. It's the less visited side of the Grand Canyon, attracting only about 10% of the park's annual visitors, roughly 500,000 compared to the South Rim's 5 million. Located 65 miles northwest of Flagstaff and accessible via Arizona State Route 67, the North Rim Parkway, it offers a wilder, more serene experience. Its higher elevation results in cooler temperatures, averaging 10 to 15 degrees Fahrenheit, or 5 to 8 degrees Celsius lower than the south rim, and heavier snowfall, which closes the area seasonally. The North Rim is open from May 15th to October 15th each year, with limited day use access until the first major snowfall closes Highway 67, typically late October or November. Unlike the bustling South Rim, the North Rim has fewer facilities, one lodge, one campground, and a handful of trails and overlooks. Its remoteness and shorter season contribute to its uncrowded appeal. Visitor experience at Bright Angel Point. Bright Angel Point Trail was closed for a while, just about a year ago for repairs, but it should be open. As with any trail, you should really go and check the National Park Service website before you head out there. The paved trail is mostly accessible, though, as you can kind of see in this video, there are steep sections and a step near the end. Limit full wheelchair use. Restrooms and water stations are available near the lodge. Beyond the hike, and visitors can enjoy ranger programs, photography, and relaxation at the Grand Canyon Lodge's sunroom or dining hall. Um, One thing I will say is, the Grand Canyon is an incredibly inspiring place. A lot of people just want to keep going. You want to, see maybe and go lower. This trail is pretty flat and mellow. Um, I would just caution you extremely that going below the rim, that things can get very challenging very fast. And the tough thing about the Grand Canyon, just that it's so steep and it's such an insane amount of vertical from the rim down to the river that you really don't want to overestimate too much. There are people that get in trouble like pretty much on the daily basis in the Grand Canyon. You might think, oh, this will never happen to me, but just definitely this is a place you want to respect more than most. Another thing you want to consider is you're really starting at the rim for all of your hikes. So because of that, um, the easiest part of the hike, and you're going to be excited checking out all the new views, is going to be going down, and you can go down and down, but then you turn around and you have this huge hike in front of you, and it's just going to be so challenging. So just be sure. I would really recommend. I know a lot of people are on pretty tight deadlines on their road trips and stuff and want to pack in as much as possible. But really, assess your own limit. And if you're thinking about doing a really long hike, going way down in the canyon, really consider like um, maybe start slow, just go a couple miles and turn around, then maybe a couple more the next day. Then, if you're still feeling good, you can go farther. But a lot of people will kind of learn with that technique that maybe they don't want to go as far as you originally thought. And then there are a lot of people who will just go an insane distance and then turn around. But like I said, you definitely want to be careful. Um, Man, it is so beautiful here. I absolutely love the Grand Canyon. Grand Canyon National Park is one of my favorite places. I frequently say this saying is every day away from the Grand Canyon a wasted day, which is a bit silly, but it's also just such an amazing place. There's so many varied experiences you can have here. Like you can go way backpacking, and canyoneering down like canyons barely anyone has ever been to. You can enjoy you know, kind of a crowded viewpoint at Mather Point on the South Rim. You can just walk out to this paved trail on Bright Angel Trail as we're doing now. You could stay at the lodges on the rim. You can go backpacking on the corridor trails. You can just go for a day hike, a lot like we're doing now. You can go for a longer day hike. There's really tons and tons and tons of options at Grand Canyon National Park. One thing I'll also say too is that sometimes, in the South Rim, particularly, people kind of complain about how crowded it is sometimes. But I assure you, like, if you are just willing to go a little bit off the beaten path, you can really find solitude pretty easily. Obviously, you want to be very respectful of a canyon, as I've kind of said before. You don't really want to scramble down to the left, or in a lot of places, there's really no scrambling you want to do. You can really get yourself into trouble. There is a huge book, talking about all the deaths that have occurred in the Grand Canyon. So you definitely don't want to be a statistic like that. This is one of those sad places where there are a lot of deaths that occur hiking as well. Not meaning to just be like gloom and doom fear mongering, but just be aware and respect the canyon. So now we're going to go down and just check out one other viewpoint here. And we're approaching kind of the Grand Canyon Lodge right here. And there are a bunch of different places. There's like a restaurant in there. If you stay at the lodge itself, there's kind of some separate cabins that you kind of go into. Um, Man, it's just so beautiful here. Clouds were coming into it later in this day. I got just walloped by a couple storms, and I remember I was running away from them. Check out the Cape Royal video that I made, and you can see exactly what I'm talking about. Highly recommend the North Rim. It's just absolutely fantastic. The views from the top. I mean, this photo or this video really doesn't do it justice. I mean, it's absolutely insane, and it's so big too. Just so big and incredible. So if you like this video and found it helpful, I would love it if you liked, subscribed, commented. Would love to hear your experience about what happened here. And do you love the Grand Canyon as much as I do? I just never seem to get enough. Um, and look at me just taking all these 360 camera shots. Um, Being a little bit silly here. But so this is the other point where the trail starts. Like if you just go all the way to the lodge and then out to the veranda, which we're going to see stairs that go up to that here in a second. So that's another option. But I would really encourage you not to skip this point. It's really not too long and really not too difficult. I mean, obviously, again, if you have little kids or people you're worried that might be extremely afraid of heights, this might not be the best hike, but give it a shot anyway. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and please let me know if you're able to go to the North Rim of the Grand Canyon. Place is absolutely spectacular. Would love to hear about your experience. Thanks so much. Bye bye.